I'm not claiming that I'm remembering everything, but it's those small details at the end of the day that matter for people. But for me, it's just collecting all of those different lenses because I don't want to be limited to one single point of view because that's what I learned in an institution. For me, life is really about learning and just growing. And that's, for me, an awesome way. I love learning.
Yes. I do too. One of my favorite quotes is learning for the sake of learning, which is just focusing on, growing because you want to and not worrying about the fact that not everyone looks at it the same way. You just see other ways of living throughout history or people's artwork or things that they've built. I mean, there's just so much that you can learn about other people and other cultures that way.
It's not being brilliant. I barely finished high school.
What? Maybe you just weren't motivated. It was too easy.
I almost did not graduate from high school because I didn't see the point of learning what you are learning in school.
Yeah.
You have to learn very specific topics to graduate and topics that you don't care about. And you know that they're not going to help you in life.
Right.
So what is the point?
Yeah. There's almost no point at that point. And I think that that's really what holds a lot of people back from continuing education because they don't see the value in it for reasons like that.
The story is that I grew up in France until the age of 13 years old.
Wow.
And then I moved to Israel and I lived in Israel until the age of 28. Wow. So when I speak in French now, I have that Israeli accent. When I speak in Hebrew, I have that French accent. And when I speak in English, I have that weird accent.
Right.
So when you learn the language, you are really to learn to think and to feel in a different way. So I may tell you something now in English, it will make me feel in some way. But if I will tell you the same thing in French or in Hebrew, I will think at it in a very different way, even though those are the same words.
Right.
So it's just those different perspectives on how to look at the world, and you just have more lenses. It's just beneficial for just the sake of learning and just exploring new things.
Through those different lenses. I think that that's really important. As I've matured throughout my life, I recognize a lot of other perspectives, and that's really why I love to connect with so many people, because everyone has a different experience in life. You can learn something new from everyone you meet, and until you take the time to get to know the person, actually have that conversation and communicate with them, you won't know what you're missing out on.
When you learn new languages as well, for example, I just want to go back to that story when I moved from France to Israel.
Yeah, sure.
It took me I learned the language very fast, but it took me about 4 years to learn the people. Because think about it, a kid who is 13 years old, moving from France to Israel,
right.
Like from Europe to the Middle East.
Right, yeah, that's
very different mentality, right?
Yeah.
You will see that everyone will behave in a different way, will react to different things, and you don't understand why. Why are they not reacting like me? Why, I know such a better way. What's going on here?
Right.
Until I made that switch in my mind where I kind of realized, okay, maybe it's me. Maybe it's not the entire country and it's me here the problem.
Right.
So after that, I had that switch in mindset. I learned how to adapt to new situations.
Yeah.
I learned to give a chance. And I learned that just to connect with people, you have to meet them on their ground and where they live and not on your own terms. You learn to meet people and to engage with them on their terms, and you are not judgmental anymore.
Right. If we change, or if we admit that we need to change, we're somehow acknowledging that we're not perfect, and that's a horrible thing, and how dare you say that about yourself. But it's okay to blame everything around you. Somehow that's better. But at the end of the day, doing that doesn't serve anyone, especially not yourself, And if you really want to get happier with yourself, it starts with you.
It has nothing to do with your experience.
Right. Right.
So that's what I'm charging $800 for, to teach that entire approach, basically, which drives results.
Right.
So when you apply online, it's kind of the same thing. You want to dream of having that job at Google or at Amazon or wherever it is.
Yeah.
Not because you really want the job. If you really want the job, there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Yeah, that is such a good point. And I never looked at it like that, but you're right. If you really wanted to take control over a real opportunity, you can't just leave it up to chance and clicking a button. The easier it is to apply to a job, the less likely you are to get it. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's all about who you know and how you can present yourself. Mm-hmm. And having someone like you come into someone's life and help them through that, I think that that's huge. You have to really be diligent.
It's really about setting up goals. And the more we do that, the more they get into that cadence of being able to operate on their own. And I will be less and less involved because I really want to teach them how to do that themselves. Right. They have to create their own goals, their own journey, really, and they're accountable to each other about how they behave with each other.
The way that people look at social media and video gaming, yes, it has positives, but if that's all you do with it, then, you know, it becomes a waste of human potential, you could say.
Again, if you're talking about having different lenses on how and different perspectives on how to look at the world, we live in a small bubble. Everyone's living in a small bubble. It doesn't matter where in the world.
Right.
But then you see that you can explore the bubbles from the other person's.
Yeah. Visit someone else's bubble for a change.
I was thinking for the same money, I could buy all of the tools.
Right. Yeah.
and just do it myself, and just, you know, with all of the YouTube videos from the books at the library and everything.
Right.
There is no reason why not just doing that in my free time.
Yeah. And if you're a handy person, if you're resourceful, I think that if you can do it yourself, there is a element of enjoyment that comes from it. It's a bit cathartic also, and you can feel proud. I mean, you're using the furniture that you built.
Creating something from scratch that doesn't exist, putting that creating that vision, and then executing on that vision, and then you have that thing at the end of the day.
I like that every time I say something complimentary, you're like, anyone can do it. So to have someone like you be so humble and down to earth and just level with me, I think that that goes a long way. And I'm sure that people find you that much more approachable as a result.
I think that if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Right.
It's all about being stubborn, really stubborn, but in a way that you need to know when not to give up, but also you need to know when it's the time to give up.
Maybe people feel hesitant to give up because there's a negative connotation with saying that, or saying that you're quitting something. And the thing is, you don't need to look at it that way. There's seasons in life, right? Not everything lasts forever. Not everything's supposed to. Being committed to your goals and your visions, but being flexible with how you achieve them.
So exactly. So you don't fail, you pivot, right?
Yes.
Two main things that are really guiding me. First of all, it's always progress over perfection. Mm-hmm. I am not that type A person who is aiming for perfection. I will fail again, and that's okay. Like, It's all about progress. It's not about I'm never aiming for that perfect product. And the second thing that I'm really believing in is that you should really, there is that say that live your life like the stories you want to tell. And I believe that life at the end of the day, it's an adventure. It's all about experimenting, trying new things. And what do you want to try in life? And if you want to just learn stuff that are making an impact in your day job.
Right.
And that doesn't mean necessarily learning those 500 pages.